Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a tour of my shop. Let's get into it. For those of you that don't know, my wife and I and our kids all moved to a different house. This was about a year and a few months ago. And when that happened, we ended up having to redo everything that I did in the old shop. So this meant that I would have to do insulation, I would have to do drywall, and I hit a bunch of snags along the way. But first, I want to show you some pictures of what it used to look like. They had paneling on the wall. Behind the paneling, there was drywall in some places. In other places, it was just a wood backer for some reason. So there was an old sink. There was mirrors attached to the wall, cabinets. They had those along the wall as well. There ended up being some water damage behind some things, but that being said, it's a lot different now than it used to be. I will give you a tour of everything, but let's go through some of the things that I had to do. So the first thing that I did was I ripped out all of the old stuff, the cabinetry. I did do one video of some of the renovation, but I gutted the entire garage down to the studs. I piled all of my stuff in the middle, covered it up, and then just went to town. So everything was down to the studs. I'll show some pictures of that as well. I ripped out all the old insulation and basically started from scratch. Now, I found out in that process that our garage door was cracked. The garage door motor couldn't actually really function properly. It's been a lot to go through. So what I ended up doing was I had electrical done. So when I first got into the garage or the shop, it had, I think, maybe 2 outlets, maybe 3. It had some lights in the ceiling above me that did operate off switches, so that was a bonus. It did have a sink. So what I ended up doing to start with is I had electrical done. I ended up putting a total, including what was here. It went from about 3 or 4 outlets to now I have 38 outlets that are 110 volt. They are on multiple breakers. Some of them are dedicated breakers for the machinery. I also added 220 volt. I have 4 of those. There were 4. One of them is the mini split. So that one is already dedicated. There are 2 220 volt outlets on the wall and then 1 on the other side of the garage. So that's the electrical update. After the electrical, I did insulation. So insulation, I probably should have waited until I did some other things, but I didn't know about those things at the time. So insulation is R15 in the walls. The ceiling I did not change. I did not open up the ceiling. I chose R15 because it was the more affordable option based on some other things that I had to do. And I did hire it out. I did not do it myself because hiring it out was somehow cheaper than me going to Home Depot and doing my own labor rate to do it myself. And they did it in about 4 hours. It would have taken me probably 4 days. Once the installation was done, I had a friend of mine come in. He took a look at the sink and the plumbing, found out, so there was a whole bunch of plumbing on the exterior of the wall. It's like they did patchwork to try to do whatever they wanted to do. We took all that out. We had it replumbed, so he replumbed everything. He soldered everything in. We made an access hatch for the water shutoff valve. Did a new sink, and we also found out that there was a gas leak at our water heater, so we had to fix that too. And then when we were at the water heater, we found out that they didn't plumb the exhaust of the water heater up properly. So instead of connecting it to the piping and tubing the way it should have been done, they just had it like pumping into the floor in between the 2 levels of our house. So it could have caused a major fire. We caught that, we fixed it, that's good to go now. So we had some adventures along the way. We had some, oh, I forgot to mention, we had boards that were molded out from a water leak that was hidden. I don't know that it was hidden maliciously, but it was hidden behind cabinets. We had to replace studs in that wall. And then once all of the fixing was done, I had my friend help me and we redid all of the drywall. We did put the like water style drywall, the green stuff on the walls that back up to a bathroom, around the water heater, on the mini split wall, all that just to be safe. And then we did regular drywall everywhere else, did all the priming, the painting, and then I also replaced my garage door with an insulated steel back garage door. And I did that because I do live in Vegas. It gets very hot in here, and the more insulation, the better. So my garage also faces the sun, so anything I can do to help make that better. Yes, I probably could have gone with a cheaper door and insulated it myself, but for value of my home, resale value, and everything else into consideration, I just decided to have it be a steel back insulated door. So that brings me to what was done, basically a full gut job and a full redo. It took probably 4 or 5 months between me working on it after work, on weekends, being able to get friends out here to help me do it, and now we're here. It then took me a while to get stuff set up in a way that kind of made sense. So I'll walk you through what exactly I did on each wall and my thought process behind it. The center is pretty much all my old woodworking tools. I used to do a bunch of woodworking. I don't do it as much anymore. So they're all piled in the center so I can pull them outside easily if I need to cut something because I don't want to affect the machinery. But all of that stuff is kind of piled in the center. For those of you that are really strict about cleaning and don't like showing a messy shop, you might want to quit now because parts of it are kind of messy. You know who you are. Just leave. It's okay. Let's get into it. Let's just get this over with. Here's the middle. Looks gross. I have the joiner, the planer, the table saw, the router table, the bandsaw, miter saw, all of that is kind of like in that square because I don't use them a lot. So I kind of condensed their footprint as much as possible so that I can just have a nice U-shape aisle around it. So there you go. I also have the Glowforge that I used in the video that's going to be sent out of here, so that'll be gone sometime soon. But let's go on to the parts you actually want to see. And on the wall behind me, this is the wall that is actually the house wall. So our bathrooms and stuff are on the other side of this wall. I have my black cabinets. I have my sign that I've had for a while. I put bins on top for storage just to maximize out my vertical space because I don't have a lot of floor space, so I have to go up as much as I can. But that's where I store materials. There's the normal, like my kids' bike helmets and chalk and all the other stuff. That's all in there too. So that's really where I store the majority of my things. Now, if I go to the side, you can see the door. We do have a refrigerator, which is really nice having a drink fridge out here. We have the sink and then the pile of water and drinks and sodas and all that stuff. I also have a wall control panel over here that has the camera things are on the very top, fire extinguishers right next to that, and then I have being able to wash my hands, soap, all that stuff is there. I did not realize how much I would love having a sink in the shop. If you have the capability, definitely put one in. I wish I've had one forever. So that wall is actually right here. The cabinet you might be able to see in the peripheral part of this. So behind that, this wall is an exterior wall. It's the end of my house. There I have my toolbox that I've had for a while, and then the mini split is above that. I decided to put the toolbox under it because if there's a leak, I don't want it to be a machine that gets leaked on. I'd rather it be just a steel box. So that's why that's there. Then, if I move the camera down, I have my desk set up. There is a walkway between there, so I can go through here if I need to. This is also on wheels. I can wheel it out if I need to, but this helps me do all my design stuff. So this is currently hooked up to a machine, and I will show that here in a second. But dual monitors, let me give you a rundown of that real quick. So this is the custom PC I built a couple years ago. It is like 32 gigs RAM. It's got a Ryzen 9 processor, and it's got I forget which graphics card it is, but it is the fastest PC I've ever had. It also has 2 hard drives. One is where I store all my data, and then one is for all the processing in the actual computer. I find that that runs much smoother. Then I have the dual monitors. I do have an Atom Mini switch right here for doing camera angles. I'm working on getting that set up. And then I have a Stream Deck for being able to push buttons, start processes, all of that kind of stuff. And then what I think is the coolest is I have a letter opener that is a samurai sword that I got from Disney. I just thought it was really cool, so there you go. Next to that, there's a little partition in the wall. For some reason, it is load bearing. I could not take it out. So on the other half of that wall, I have the UV printer. So this is a LogoJet UVX 40R Plus. This is currently on loan from LogoJet to create video content. And then I have the Epilog Fusion Maker. This one is also on loan from Epilog to create content with. So both of those machines are side by side. It's really nice because I can take it directly from here, send it to the printer, and it's all contained. I also added this shelf up here for storage for both packing material, foams, some stuff we have for normal, you know, it's still a garage. It's not a dedicated 100% shop. I also have a wall control panel here that has all of my printer maintenance stuff and tooling and everything I need. And then I have wall control panels on the front wall to store, you know, right now it's storing the paper towels, but it's also for any other general storage that may come up. I also forgot to mention that the printer sits on top of a cabinet that I made a while ago. I can also store like painted signs there. And then I have a lev rack mobile workbench that I put the Fusion Maker on, and that also stores my acrylic. I also have a beam that runs through the center of the garage at the top. So what I did is I actually put outlets on that. I'll show those to you in a second. But I put up clamp storage. I also have my trimmer, my hedge trimmer, as well as my leaf blower all up on that as well. And then I'll get to the other side of the garage, but I did make use of as much of that space as I could. In the middle of my shop, backed up to all of the woodworking tools, is another lev rack workstation. So this does have storage for acrylic on it. It has some of my tools. So I have like art knives, stickers, all that stuff. And then I use the top for either prepping material. So right now I am prepping for my talk at the APA Expo. So I have all of the signs and parts that I'm working on for that. This is my general assembly table, you know, if I'm doing a project, whatever it may be. So it's nice having that dedicated space where this table is 3 feet deep and 54 inches wide. So it's pretty big, which is really nice to have. And just so you can see it, there is an outlet on the wall. It does go up and then over, so there's an outlet there. Keep going, there's another outlet in the middle, another outlet on the end, and then another outlet on the end part of the wall. So all of these outlets were added by me, and they were for the purpose of being able to plug in things while I'm working at the center workbench. My goal for the outlets was I don't have to use an extension cord at all in my shop. Okay, and then on the third wall, this one is the one, it does also back up to the house. The door into the house is right here. So I did add a TV. I don't remember what size it was. 55, I think, inch TV. And then I have the Epilog Fusion Edge. This is on loan from Epilog. They sent it to me when this machine was released. And I've been making content with this one and the Fusion Maker over there. I also have the BOFA filtration system next to it, the compressor, and then on this wall I have my woodpecker's tools on a wall control panel. And this is the nice wall that I really like. So I would say that I do use the Fusion Edge a lot because it's a 60 watt and I can cut a lot of my material on it. It does probably see the majority of my cutting lately. And then on the last half of this wall, I'm gonna have to probably step further away just because I'm backing up to the woodworking area. But there is my logo sign. That is the acrylic one. I do have my clock up here. If I hit the switch, I have that lit up clock. So if you remember, I made a video on, I think, both of these, but I think that's my favorite project, or at least one of my favorite projects that I've ever made. I also have my rotary for the Fusion Edge and Fusion Maker sitting up here on the wall control panel. I also have a camera slide that's right here. So easy access to all of that. But yeah, again, I like to display a lot of my stuff when I can. And that one's definitely one that I don't think I'll ever get rid of. And then below all of the signs, I have my original Epilog Fusion M240. This is the one that started pretty much me on my route to where I am now. I bought this, I did buy it used from Epilog. I started making the videos and projects with it and started sharing them, got in contact with the company, and that really kicked off being able to work with them and being where I'm at now. So although this was a very expensive car for me, because I bought this instead of buying a car and replacing my car. So my car, I think, is 18 years old right now. And I took that risk and thankfully it's working out for me. But I do love this machine. It is very nice. I would like to get the Fusion Pro updated version so that I can do more videos that are relevant because the stuff I make on here, a lot of people ask like how they can get this machine, and you can't unless you buy it used anymore. So I do like this one a lot. It is 28 by 40 for the workbed area. It's good for cutting larger things. I'm having trouble with the laptop that was hooked up to it with the move and everything. So I haven't ran this one in a little bit, but I'm hoping to get it booted back up soon. And then in the corner, I have my heat press on a cabinet that the old owners actually left behind. I have a Purex filtration unit there with an old broken sign that I made in the past. I need to try to fix. And then I have my clamp storage on that wall for all of my woodworking clamps. And I definitely can't forget my daughter's crafting area. She kind of just took over, but she's making dioramas that she wanted to make out of cardboard, old boxes, and other things. She loves being creative, so I kind of just let her have some space. That is my shop. So total size of the garage is about 20 feet by 20 feet by maybe 9 feet tall. So it's not huge. It is just a little bit bigger than my old one by maybe, I think, 40 square feet. So it gave me enough room to really like make some walkable area this time around. I do hope one day to get like a dedicated space that's much bigger, but I'm definitely grateful that I have the space and to be able to do what I'm doing with the channel. One more thing I want to mention is I do have a membership for laser owners. This membership is dedicated to helping people learn about their lasers, grow their laser businesses. I cover how-tos, I cover how to make products. I have group lives where I cover specifics. So last group live was all about working with leather. The next one is about photo engraving. And then there's others that I'm going to be doing along the way. But it's all focused on helping you grow your laser business and helping you bring in money and profit and customers. So I cover business items, I cover pricing, I cover how to go about working with customers. So if you're interested in that, it is lasersmadesimple.com/membership. I will leave a link in the description below as well if you'd like to check that out. That is actually what helps fund my channel and help me keep doing what I'm doing and producing the content that I am. I love sharing what I do, I love teaching it, and I really want to be able to make that into my full-time thing one day. So if you are interested, please check that out in the link below. But hopefully you like this video. I know that this isn't a normal video, but a lot of people were asking me what machines I have in the shop and what I do with them and workflow kind of stuff. So hopefully this video has been helpful in a lot of ways. If you did enjoy it, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. If you have any questions about the machinery that I have, or the layout, or anything else, please let me know. You can email me, leave a comment below, whatever is easiest for you. You can also check out my free community that is lasersmadesimple.com/community. I'm on there every day and I try to answer everything quickly, but you can message me directly in there as well. And be sure to check out my Instagram @MakerExperiment, where I share all of this kind of stuff along the way. But I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.